All right, so we got a guy with a long gun. Clearly, the gun is loaded and ready to go, which he put rounds in the wall there, which was a clear confirmation like, okay, this guy's serious. Now you've got a little bit of a struggle here. Guys come out to help him. And now they're outside. Okay. And hopefully in this position, they're putting him in a position where they can take control of that firearm. So let's go back to the beginning. This is a really good scenario to break down. And there's a lot going on here. And I'm going to focus on a couple of key things. First is we do weapon takeaways all the time, right? We talk about if we have a firearm, distance is our friend, bullets travel far. If I'm in arm's length distance or if I'm trying to take a gun away, well, I want to be able to close that gap somehow, some way, or maybe they close the gap. So he's starting to do the job for us. Now, when he puts rounds in the wall, it lets you know that he's not messing around. He's there to do something very serious or take a life. In fact, this guy responds, I mean, probably how a lot of people would. I mean, he really flinches. His flinch response kicks in and he tries to get away from that danger. Well, what's interesting about where the gun is oriented is it's still away. So there's something psychologically that he's thinking about from a perspective of like, okay, I just fired this thing into the wall and he's still holding it there. That guy flinches, but once he realizes he has nowhere to go, because he clearly does try to get out and get away from this thing, he realizes that he's fighting for his life. And that's where you have to make the decision. Am I fighting or am I breaking contact here? And he does the right thing because he closes the distance. He tries to get away twice, tries to go through the door, and then tries to hop over the counter. He's like, that didn't work, that didn't work. So the only option left is to fight. Thankfully, that guy's gun was still oriented in a position where he could close the gap. If we think about the laser concept, which I talk about all the time in my combatives courses, that laser concept is that wherever that laser is pointed is bad, right? It can cut off an arm. I can die if I get in front of that laser. If it's pointed away from you, you're not in any danger at that point. So he clearly identifies that and then closes that gap on the gun. And then from there, it's really the three principles in ours is clear your body of the line of attack, control the firearm, and then crush the guy. So clear, control, and crush, which he pretty much clears, and he is cleared because it's pointed away from him, but he closes the gap to be able to crush this guy and control the gun. So you see the controls start to happen. His hand comes on the weapon. He controls the guy. And with a long gun, honestly, at this point, once you're in arm's length distance, it's actually really easy to keep the barrel pointed away from you. My biggest thing at this point now is where is everybody else, right? And this is where training and experience comes into play because look right there. That's starting to point back where whatever it was, the cash register or somebody behind the counter, there's all those guys coming out the door. That's close to those dudes in their head. And even when they dump outside, so if you fast forward this, let these guys dump outside real quick, you're going to see real fast that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just from what I can see, and there's a car driving, 5, 6 people, 7 people, 8 people. There's at least 10 people around that area that could potentially be swept by this gun. So it's not just you that you're fighting for. And again, that's where you start opening up that OODA loop, that observe, orient, decide, and act. Your awareness rings, all those things start to become a factor. If I'm with my kids, that thing is getting controlled away from everybody that's in that environment, including my family. So things to think about in this situation. The 2 key factors I want you guys to take away from this video are, when are you going to decide to do something about this? Your training and experiences is going to allow you to know when to crash that gap. This guy doesn't look like he's got much experience at all, or else he probably would have crashed the gap right away as soon as the gun was oriented away from him, figuring out what's going on. But you've got to understand that timing. If they came there for a reason. And so if they're pointing the gun at you like this, it's probably not a good time to use that tactic. And I'm not going to get into the tactics here because it does take a high level of training and repetition to be able to get good at this. I'm going to start doing counter weapon modules with what the training I put out online. But right now, go to a reputable person. You know, there's guys out there, Kelly McCann, Tony Blaro. There's guys that are already putting great information out there that you can take away, good reps, and you get on the mat, get the gun in your hand. You got to do this stuff. The second key thing here is once he decided to fight and crash that gap, it was all about controlling that firearm. People with little to no experience can do this with the right instinct. You know, you gotta trust yourself enough to be able to crash that gap. The worst thing you could do is stand there and just get mowed over by this guy and decide to do nothing, especially if you got other buddies starting to pour out back from that room. Now you've got strength in numbers. You can control this guy, get him in a position where you can control this fight and make him a non-threat. But this is a really great video to watch over and over again. And there's a lot of points to this, but I wanted to focus on those two key things because could somebody come waving a gun around in your environment? Of course. If you think you're going to take it away from them, get the right training, trust your instincts in that environment, and ultimately be aware of what's going on. That guy couldn't go anywhere. Could he have seen this guy coming in a little bit earlier? I don't know. Again, we didn't know the pre-context, but things to consider for situations like that.